For more on the looming U.S. counterattack, we're joined now by Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you have an update on how the injured American servicemen are doing now, including the 8 who had to be evacuated?
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay, for having me today. As you've mentioned, we did have 8 service members who sustained injuries that did require evacuation from Jordan to Baghdad, 3 of which who did get evacuated out to Landstuhl. I believe they are in stable condition. The 5 remaining in Baghdad have returned to duty. And of course, we did sustain additional injuries throughout the facility that was impacted. And of course, that tragically led to the death of 3 of our service members. But again, the reported number of injuries, I believe, were above over 40 now. That number can continue to fluctuate, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that they have the medical attention that they need.
And we understand Central Command is assessing why the incoming drone was not shot down. Can you confirm reports that troops on the ground in Jordan thought it was a returning American drone and didn't try to stop it?
Yeah, I've seen those reports. Again, I'm not going to get ahead of Central Command and their review of what exactly happened. It's something that we're looking into. We are trying to investigate and trying to figure out how this drone was able to evade U.S. air defenses. But I'm certainly not going to get ahead of Central Command as they continue to review the facts, continue to review the information that's coming into them. And when we have a more fulsome picture, I'd be happy to come back and talk more about that.
Understood. A spokesperson for the Iranian mission for the UN called the U.S. the aggressor and said Iran had nothing to do with these drone strikes. How do you respond to that claim?
Yeah, I would say that that's pretty ridiculous. We've seen over 100 attacks on U.S. forces between Iraq and Syria, and of course, now one in Jordan that happened earlier this week. These attacks have been happening since October 17th. We know who's responsible for these attacks. These are IRGC-backed militias. These are groups funded, equipped, trained and supported by Iran. So we know exactly who's responsible in terms of how these groups get their support. These are IRGC groups that operate within Iraq and Syria that have been attacking our forces, as I mentioned, since October 17th. And they're attacking forces who are there as part of the mission to defeat ISIS. They are there to ensure the regional stability and security for both Iraq and Syria. And so these attacks, of course, take away from their mission set. But as the president has said, as the secretary has said, we will respond at a time and place of our choosing.
Critics of the administration on the House Foreign Affairs Committee have said the U.S. needs a major reset of Middle East policy. Is this counterattack a first step?
We've been doing attacks, Lindsay, since these attacks started. We have been able to identify at times point of origin of these attacks. We have taken action. We have taken dynamic strikes. We've taken multilateral actions when it comes to the Houthis in Yemen in areas that they control. We have worked with our partners and allies to respond to attacks, whether it's been on commercial ships, on our ships, and of course on U.S. forces. So we have taken action. I think what you're referring to is forecasting any additional action we're going to take, and I'm not going to do that. As my boss says, we own the clock here, and so I'm going to make sure that our military, when we decide to take action, that it's at a time and place where we feel right, but I'm certainly not going to get ahead of when that is.
As we heard in Martha's reporting, the president says the U.S. will launch a counterattack lasting several days. He also said he doesn't wish to escalate tensions in the region. How can both things be true at the same time?
Well, they can be, because we don't want to see escalation in the region. We don't seek a wider regional war, and that's exactly what the president said. However, we're not going to sit back and let these attacks go unanswered. We are going to respond. That's not escalation. That's proportionate. We believe we have the right to respond. Again, as you saw earlier this week, 3 of our service members died because of a one-way attack drone. Over 40 have injured, and many, many more have been injured in the over 100 attacks that we've seen on our forces.
Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh, we thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.